Week 3 begins, and boy, was this episode a lot better. And I mean a lot better than the episode during week 2. Um, this episode's called The Dinner Party, and it seems like week 2 was a lot of setup for future storylines, but really nothing happened. In this episode, there were some things that happened, but you can tell they're setting up for future episodes this year, so I don't know, I'm quite excited about it. It was a lot better than I was anticipating, and that might play into how I reacted to it, because when you do have lower expectations, you tend to enjoy things more, I feel, because if you have really high expectations, then you get disappointed a lot, so I always try to keep my expectations low for these sorts of things. And this is also, it's still starting. I mean, I discussed the episode with some people after I had seen it, and there's still a ton of Dallas comparisons. Just so many Dallas comparisons. Oh, it bugs the crap out of me, but this was the first time that I saw an episode, and while I was watching it, those comparisons were not evident to me. They became evident after I discussed the episode, but not during. Now, the best episode, not the best episode, forgive me. The best scene is between these two characters. Yep, there and there. Crystal asks Blake straight up, "Have you ever lied to me?" And I forget exactly how it played out, but it was really tense. It was a really engaging scene, and we know some things that Crystal doesn't know, and it was just well played, very well played. Dynasty. That's the type of JR mentality that they were striving for, that they did not reach in the first 2 episodes. But I thought John Forsythe really shined in this episode. I was surprised by the storyline with Claudia was not as engaging this time. I didn't really care. And her getting all chummy with Steven, we kind of know how that's going to turn out anyways. So I didn't really care about that at all. Fallon starts flirting with Jeff. That was interesting. She's still, that first episode, Oil, she was so charismatic. I thought she was the most charismatic character in Oil. And they haven't done anything really nuts with her recently, and that's disappointed me. She's just a spoiled brat. She doesn't seem 100% evil like she did in Oil. The ending, right? I talked about the last 2 weeks that the final scene surprised me that it was the final scene. This was the first week where I could tell, okay, this is the final scene of the show. And so basically what happens is that Matthew talks to Crystal, who is married to Blake, and Matthew is married to Claudia, but Matthew and Crystal used to date each other, and Matthew tells Crystal that he's still in love with her, and Fallon overhears this. And as Fallon is skinny dipping with Jeff in the swimming pool, she admits to Crystal that she knows what Matthew said to her, and she's going to hold it over her. And you could tell it was going to be the last scene, but I mean, I thought it was a really appropriate last scene. I was really happy with the show overall. Okay, so out of 5, right? It's, it's not a 5, but it's a 3.5. I can't remember how. No, forget that. This was the best episode of the 3 so far, although there are elements of Oil that I've liked the best out of the 3 weeks. But this episode overall was the most engaging, it was the most interesting, and I wanted to see what happened. And I can't say that was true of the first 2 weeks. And so I'm a little surprised by how quickly I'm starting to get into the show, considering how much I really hated the second week's episode. But yeah, am I excited for next week? Yeah, I am. I'm very excited. I'm intrigued to see what they do, and after that week, I get a week off anyways. So, yeah, it's starting to grab my interest, and I I know it's early in the study, but I'm already really glad that I'm doing it this way because it makes every episode sail or sink, and I'm not just combining them all in my mind. I give every episode its own due, and that's been really cool. So if anybody's watching, I don't think anybody is, but if you are, thank you for watching, and please watch it with me. Dynasty, yeah. Aaron Spelling really knew how to tweak shows. That's something I've seen him do in the past, especially with Melrose Place. 90210 got tweaked a little bit too, but Melrose Place, whew, wow. And you can tell he's already tweaking Dynasty a little bit. But anyways, I hope you guys watch it with me, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Peace.